on? It is the 433 Shootout. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing and commenting all on our YouTube channels. And for those of you who is new to our podcast, the 433 Shootout is of course a program where some of the late matches after 12 a.m. where we cover a quick roundup of what has happened, and of course Champions League, right? We are coming back from the Champions League match day 1, the big one. So much to talk about this week, so much of Champions League football to talk about. First stop, I know some of the results. Real Madrid losing to Shakhtar Donetsk. I don't feel like to want to talk about that. Actually, it's really frustrating to see a team like Real Madrid, players like Luka Modric and all that couldn't even beat down Shakhtar Donetsk, who had 13 players missing, 13 first team players missing, and they just bossed Real Madrid. The defeat to Cadiz last week was bad enough, and now this, and they got the Clásico coming up, which we'll be covering on episode 5 tomorrow. But all in all, I want to talk about the one I want to focus on today is Paris Saint-Germain against Manchester United. I'm really confused on this one right here. On one hand, we got Man United, who look very hungry for this one. They play this game like as if they don't win, they will get relegated. But I guess that's what teams do, right? They bounce back and they switch it on to playing counter-attacking and relying the boost and pace of those three in Rashford, Martial and Bruno Fernandes. They are really deadly, and I'm saying it's confusing because let's not forget this is the team that outplayed by Brighton, Crystal Palace, getting their pants down by Spurs, and then come to PSG's home and produce that with a lot of changes, by the way, by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A player making his debut at centre back is called Tuanzebe. I've seen a lot of comments saying that he kept Mbappe on his pockets and all that. Yeah, it's all fine and good, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think Mbappe just had a bad night. A debut for Alex Telles, a team with so many changes in there. You would think that this is a complete mess, right? All that being said, it was amazing, absolutely amazing from United. Kind of like the vibes of the Man United of old when they go away, that 99 victory over Juve in 3-2 Turin to get them into the semi-finals. But then on the other hand, going back to this, we got players like PSG, a Champions League finalist. The way they were beaten in the final last season, you would think they will be hungrier, right? They would, go one step further. Thomas Tuchel is under a lot of pressure now, and guys like Mbappe and Neymar looks like they can't connect at all. When you put on display about the players on the field on paper, you will probably say Neymar, Ander Herrera, Mbappe, Di Maria, and all these reliable players on world football, they are going to rip Manchester United apart, especially after the beating Spurs gave them. It's really a game of confusion to me. PSG will have to live with the fact that they lost to a wounded Manchester United, and at this point 60 to 70% of the teams in the English Premier League will give Man United a much better fight. It was really embarrassing though, and their so-called best player in Paul Pogba is not even on the field. So you tell me in the comment section, what do you think? Is it PSG really that bad? Have they fooled us all in thinking they are good for reaching the finals? After all, it is a one-legged tie en route to the final. Or is it complacency? Or is it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got his tactical right over Tuchel? Because if it's the latter, then I think Tuchel got us fooled. when PSG bring in Tuchel, he was supposed to be this tactical man, motivational manager, right? But now he is nowhere near that level. And I think it was episode 2 in the 433 podcast. You guys can scroll down scroll the videos over. We cover some of his problems with the board, bringing in players. Maybe it's that. Maybe he does feel that PSG needs some fresh players. They missed out. But for whatever reason that is, Manchester United really deserve this result for their manager being very brave, to make a lot of changes. Well done, Manchester United. Nothing else to cover on that game. I watched that game. I think Barcelona 5-0. Very nice to see Barcelona players combining. Like I said in the last episode, I don't think they'll be having any trouble. But Griezmann was set out. I think maybe Griezmann was rested for the Clásico, which is coming up. Anyways, another thing I want to talk about, I got into an argument at some of the football forums on Facebook about Jack Grealish. And I feel like I should discuss this. And if you guys saw my comments, Jack Grealish, Aston Villa midfielder, what a season so far for him. Certainly made his name in the 7-2 victory against Liverpool. He ripped up that midfield apart. And I think he's a special talent, and I think it's time for England to have a player like that. It's been a long myth that England don't appreciate these type of creative players like Paul Scholes, like Gascoigne, Rooney. I think Rooney is a different case. He's the top scorer. He's the all-time leading goal scorer in England. But I think he's a special talent, and I think he can do something more. But people need to understand that sometimes you are confident and you are more than the team itself, which gives you a lot of confidence while playing. And I think that gives you the edge. What I'm trying to say is Aston Villa at this moment is a mini little pond and Grealish is a big fish. Until he tests his waters with the big guns, and by big guns I mean the top level teams, not just playing against them but playing for them, it's not as easy as it sounds. If you play football, you will know what I meant. The pressure is there at the back of your mind. There's always fans chanting your name, or fans taking a look at your every move. Let's say you play for a club like Real Madrid and Barcelona, the biggest teams in the world, Liverpool maybe, Bayern maybe, or Man City, the biggest fan base. Their fans can be very nasty to you as a player, and the pressure will get to you. I got into an argument with this guy saying that he has played for England. No, England is England, but he wasn't there at the World Cup. He wasn't there for the Euros. And last week's friendly, he wasn't even preferred by Southgate. Which, by the way, I totally disagree if you ask me. Again, I must state that I love the type of player Jack Grealish has. And I think England lacks this type of player. Geniuses, midfield, vision, very ambitious to play, not overdoing and stuff like that. But we can only see him for a while. And if you ask me, he must make a move somewhere else. Unless he brings Aston Villa into the Champions League football for the next 4 or 5 seasons straight, then I think he has the opportunity to prove me or the doctors wrong. Example of this, look at Paul Pogba. Just take a look at Jamie Vardy or Mahrez when Leicester won the title and Leicester played Champions League football the following season. No one even remembered them, even though they reached, was it the quarterfinals or the round of 16? I think they beat Sevilla, something like that. I forgot. The thing is, I forgot. So I can't even remember Vardy was in that competition. All I remember from that competition is that they sacked Claudio Ranieri. And Mahrez, now playing for Man City, he wasn't that skillful, technically gifted player like he was in Leicester City that we know and love. It's a change because big teams, right? You have to play a certain way. You're not a freedom. You don't have your limitations. And again, this is what I meant. I'm not criticizing grealish. I'm just saying that there are levels in football that will get to you as a player, and some players couldn't live with it. Bale at Real Madrid, Drogba at Manchester United. This Gareth Bale, going back to him, despite winning the Champions League, I mean, Real Madrid would have won the Champions League anyway without Bale. Same with Coutinho, who came in with a price tag and the pressure to cover up the void that Neymar left at Barcelona. Griezmann, and even the great Maradona, when he made the move to Barcelona, a big club. The only memorable thing he did was the Kung Fu kick with the Athletic Bilbao players. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just Google on YouTube Barcelona Athletic Bilbao fight, and you know what I meant. So yeah, that's what I meant. Too soon for grealish, but so far he's building up his profile for the big teams to come and get him. And another thing I want to talk about is the question I got from one of our followers. He doesn't want to be named. Is to discuss who I think is the best goalkeeper I have ever seen. Wow. Yeah, this is a hard one for me. But if you ask me on a different day, it might be a different answer. But now, bear in mind, when I think about all these questions, best at their profession, I think of their absolute highest peak. You can talk about the best goalkeeper, best players I've ever seen, best free kick taker, best penalty taker. I would think of a situation where they are at their highest level, and I'm not thinking about how much of a flop they are and whatnot. There are some players who did that. But I have to say, I'm stuck with Peter Cech at Chelsea, Buffon at Parma, and David De Gea at Manchester United. I can't differentiate these three. Maybe snuck Peter Schmeichel in there, but I think David De Gea got the hardest task of a goalkeeper than all of the names mentioned, even Buffon at Parma. His defense wasn't that good, and at the peak of his powers, there are times that I think he is unstoppable. He's great in my view. On other days, it could be Ter Stegen too. Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is my favorite goalkeeper right now, but I'm going with De Gea. His ability to make himself big one-on-one, his reflex. I'm just afraid that he will be quickly forgotten when his career ends because of the fumbles he had done in the last 2-3 years for Manchester United. There is a possibility he may be seen as the Fabian Barthez category. Guys like Victor Bayer, Victor Valdez, all good goalkeepers, but too many howlers that made them ruin their legacy. Actually, for Victor Valdez, I think when he made the move from Barcelona, Claudio Bravo was one of them as well. Again, moving away in Barcelona, and that's about it. And people are not gonna remember you. And unfortunately, that is what goalkeepers do. They have fumbles, and you will be forgotten. Now look at Peter Cech. He's so consistent over the years. Even when he was at Arsenal, he doesn't make too many mistakes, and people remember him as one of the best. But if you remember correctly, when Jose Mourinho was first in charge of Chelsea, that defense was unstoppable. They won 11-1-0 in that season when they won the league. So it's easier for him. But again, I'm not taking away Peter Cech's ability. He's, like I said earlier, I can't differentiate him, Buffon, and David De Gea at Manchester United. It's difficult for me. Anyways, that has been 433 shootout. Again, we will try to cover some of the 433 shootout overnight fixtures, and I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead. I'm getting ready for the Clasico. We'll probably release an episode on El Clasico on episode 5. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel.